Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, Tolkien professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who is, seriously, we're lounging around. I guess you've been off for a couple weeks here, Gryfflet, so can't really be blamed for taking some rest in a wheelbarrow here. Besides, inspired by the bad example of the children of Malbarth here, who just like, look at this kid, just kind of like lounging there while his father's nailing, what's he doing even? He's like nailing the stairs to the ground? Okay. You know, trying to anchor things a little bit there, I guess. There we are. Anyway, okay. That's fine. It's all good. Anyway. Hey, everybody. So glad to be back. I haven't been back to Lotro here for a while. So let's see. So Gryfflet, as you will recall, we're in Lebanon here, right? we've had this, I think, Gryfflet's second session in Lebanon, I believe, or just got started last time, right? I think this might be our first full one. I don't know. Anyway, but here we are. We're in this little town here, Malbarth, on the other side of the Gilrine, and we just had our first roaming star quest again over here from this side of the river. So we went back down to the river, and we're getting some more reeds, and now we're going to make some more of those baskets to honor the Gilrine, and we're going to report our story to Malawin and tell her about how we got to meet Gilrine before and all that kind of thing. So, all right. Okay, let's see. Phil's saying, I wonder whether that child has been trying to elicit an explanation from the father and is exhausted by the repeated failures. You mean like trying, like, Dad, why again are you trying to nail the stairs to the ground? Like, is that, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Yes, Hologro says, gotta love these grab random stuff from people's porches without asking quests. Well, no, I mean, what else are these baskets for? Look, somebody labored over this. Look at this, like, beautifully woven double swan basket here. So like, I'm sure they don't mind somebody randomly coming along and using it for its intended purpose without their knowledge, right? Okay, let's see. So I've got I'm looking at my quests now. I've got to collect Southron badges, right, for the epic quest, but that's fine. We'll get there. I think I finished my Corsair badges, so as soon as we find a place with Southrons, then we'll collect those. All right, I've got to tell Malawin about the my story about Roaming Star. Right, mix a couple more baskets, and then all right, this is where I tell her the actual story. Okay, cool. Let me just go ahead and tell her the story. Here we go. Malawin, what do you think?
What has become of our lords in the east?
I'm grateful you have driven them back once more. Who, the dead? No, the raiders, the Corsairs. Okay, yep. No worries. Okay, now I'm meant to stop leveling, I believe, but I'm going to wait till I get a little closer up. I like to be almost at the next level before I freeze, so that when I want to be level 105, I can get there quickly. So I'm gonna keep try to remind me not to go up to level 105. I don't want to cut it too close. Okay. Oh wait, hang on a second. Sure. Oh wait, no, I'm supposed to. I don't just turn in the quest. I gotta tell her the story. Here we go. You are not of our lands, traveler. For what reason would I believe such a tale? What? You don't believe me that I met Roaming Star? Oh, no, I'm supposed to tell somebody else, too. Oh, fine. You don't believe me? Fine. Hey, kid, mind if I borrow this handmade basket here? Thanks. No, you don't care. You're just sitting there. Okay. Oh, sorry, people. Didn't mean to run through your conversation. Hi, lady. Is this your basket? Can I borrow it? I want to, honor the Gilrine and stuff. I'm sure you understand. I'll tell her you said hi next time I see her. Okay, let's see now. Where's the other person I'm supposed to tell? What is this building? Looks like an inn, but I can't go in. which would mean it can't be an inn now, wouldn't it? Okay, let's see. Here's more cloth. I love that I'm using the, like, Numenor-themed cloth for this. That's nice. Okay, and oh, all right, there's my third basket. No problem. Yeah, that's a good question, Hologro. Would a player character from Gondor get a different message there? Yeah, I wonder. Whoa. Dude. Doing it wrong. What is happening here? It looks like you've got a nice chopping block here. And you chopped your wood. And then you finish chopping wood and you just keep going, and now you're just chopping the chopping block. Okay. Alright. Okay. I mean, you do you, guy, but, like, that looks like a really good chopping block, and personally, I'd keep it around myself. Okay. Yes, this is her. Alright, this is she. Lendithil. Yes. With the ithil ending with the moon. Okay. All right, Lendithil. In these dark times, perhaps the sisters have returned to watch over us. Well, yes, because I told you so. Because I met her. All right. Talk to Arvaith by the Gilrine. Deliver in the baskets of materials to Arvaith. Okay, that's what we will head back down to the Gilrine then. Okay. Oh man, JJ wants to know when they're going to make the Wheel of Time MMO. I don't know, but like, what do you figure for the gameplay hours for that? Like, 1,500 maybe? Yeah. Yep. Hey, pierogies, I really like the Wheel of Time show. Brilliant show. Great adaptation. Really smart. Really smart. There are things I don't like about it. Of course. There are always things you don't like about things. But, brilliant treatment of the book. Just brilliant. So hard to adapt that book. So hard. Good, JJ. I'm glad you enjoyed the discussion of it. I really enjoyed discussing it on Wednesday. In fact, JJ, I think that's the first time I've ever, like, actually been able to sit and do an analysis of the Wheel of Time. I mean, like, I've had conversations with individuals before, but to actually, like, sit down and talk Wheel of Time, it was, I think that was my first occasion for that. Okay. Interesting, Pierogies. I wonder what did you not like about the pacing exactly? What was your pacing issue? I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just wondering what your thoughts were there. Okay, let's see. I've done us a great service by honoring our traditions. See, it's not theft, Hologro. It's honoring their traditions. This is me respecting the community, not burgling the community, just so we're clear. Let us hope that our tribute and need for hope shall urge the sister of Gilrine forth from wherever she and her sisters have gone. Dude, she's totally right here. Ooh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Those are some nice baskets I prepared for you, Arvaith. You are the first we have known of in ages who claims to have seen one of the sisters, much less spoken to one. If you could call her forth before my folk, I do not think the darkest night could break our spirits. Disturb the pile of stones we have placed at the river's edge, and perhaps she will honor us all by revealing herself. Okay, oh boy, now you want me to arrange a public appearance? That's a lot to ask, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I mean, she's not a tame river nymph. Like, just because I've met her doesn't mean I can conjure her at will. I still believe you and I would have my folk do the same. I still believe you, and I would have my folk do the same. Right. I shall tell them of her return to our lands and inspire hope in my kin. I think it is time you return to Bark here. The war in the east only worsens with each passing moment, and you are needed there. Okay. Oh, right. I'm like, where's Bark here? No, it's a person. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. I have to switch from burglar to respecter. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, let's see. Yeah, JJ, the damaging the house when Moiraine basically like takes out the wine spring inn at the beginning. I was a little I have to admit to having been a little taken aback by that. But in retrospect, I actually kind of liked it. Again, it's like so much in the text, it's accelerated. It has to be accelerated. How could you not accelerate that book? But what it accomplished in the end by the destruction of the Wine Spring Inn, I felt, was we can see on the one hand it was a very clear like the days of Emond's Field that you have known are gone kind of moment, and of course we know later in the books when any of the characters come back to Emond's Field, it's already changing, new buildings, new architecture styles and everything already taking over there in Emond's Field. And so the idea that like the inn is going to have to be rebuilt and probably in a like different and grander style is just sort of a way to kind of get a step ahead on that process. So by having the collapse of the inn was a really interesting. It kind of had this interesting double effect, right? Again, first it was like the innocence of the two rivers was shattered by the Trolloc attack, and even like the discovery of Rand and their leaving. I mean, that's. That moment, right, when Moiraine takes the young people out of Emond's Field is a huge turning point in the history of that village. But then, but it's not just like the end of an era, right? It's also the beginning of a new one. And so, marking that transition with the collapse of the Wine Spring Inn, I thought it kind of worked. Anyway, yeah. Pierogi said, I felt like when the party splits the first time, it felt like a drop in momentum. Oh, man. Well, have you read the books? I'm just saying, I couldn't do any... I mean, you're right, of course. Like, the pace slows down when it divides into 3 sub-stories. But that's exactly what Jordan's narrative does. And holy cow, does the narrative slow down, does the narrative pacing slow down to a crawl. Like, not even a crawl. I could wish for a crawl, right, in some ways. Anyway, so it's they were, like, sticking. I mean, they're being faithful to the narrative shape of the story in doing that. And because there were a whole bunch of things they couldn't have done if they hadn't have done that. So I think they had to. Well, they didn't have to, but I think it was right that they did. But yeah, it absolutely does do that. I mean, so yeah, it's as it was. I think they changed the pacing so much. I mean, everything was so much more accelerated that yeah. Right, it's what made it hard for you to get through the book when you were little too. Well, yeah, pierogies. I can tell you. I love Robert Jordan, but I mean, I can respect anybody. Totally understand anybody who has a hard time reading it, because it takes patience. It takes patience. The sisters have returned, Bark here. Absolutely. I'm still not certain I can believe one so new to our lands, but I wish it true. Now then, we must speak of the conflict in the east. Okay, let's do that. You have brought much hope to my people. Although we wish to distance ourselves from the troubles in Lebanon, we cannot deny that soon the war shall come to us. In the hills to the east lies the settlement of Ost Anglebed, and it is there you must go. The Lord has gone, but the Steward and his men hold against all the forces outside Pelargir. They would be aided greatly by one such as you, and should they fail to hold the beacon, the rest of Lebanon would soon fall. Okay, I'm not 100% sure why that is. I mean, tactically speaking, but I get it. Okay. Go swiftly to Ost Anglebed in the east and follow the hills, for the roads are unsafe as of late, even for a burglar. Well, that just shows how little you know of burglars. Okay. Talk to the steward in Ost Anglebed. Great. So where are we headed next? Right. Now we're headed up to the town. Great. Okay, we got our second largest town here in Lebanon. Great. So I'm skipping here. All right. So I'm not gonna go back down to the road. I'm not gonna take the right because we'll probably be sent down here, presumably. But first we're heading up to Ost Anglebed. Got it. All right. I don't suppose we go overland. That might be fun, but I doubt we can. Okay. All right. Hey, JJ, why are you putting quotation marks around reading when you're talking about audiobooks? Reading with your ears is real reading. I don't mean it's just as good as eye reading. It's the real reading. Eye reading is a modern affectation. Don't let anybody tell you different. Okay. But anyway. Sorry. One of my hobby horses. Okay. Where's yeah, I'm getting a lore question up here before we head out. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Ed on Discord was asking, playing through Dol Amroth in Lotro made me wonder why the princes of Dol Amroth didn't push aside the Steward in Minas Tirith and claim the throne for themselves. It's not as though real-world dynasties don't get replaced by others. Why did the princes/princesses of Dol Amroth not do this? Mostly because this isn't Game of Thrones. No, actually, I'm kind of kidding about that. Not actually very much kidding about that. Or to put it the other way around, this is one of the kinds of things that authors like G.R.R. Martin, sort of complain are not like realistic enough about the Lord of the Rings, because like, you know, basically the people in the Lord of the Rings aren't like horrible enough. Like aren't as horrible as like real people are horrible. So like everyone would obviously be constantly out for themselves, and therefore would be all seeking to do things like that. But seriously, the answer would seem to be, and now first, Tolkien didn't. We have very little detail about the history of Dol Amroth. Prince Imrahil sort of emerges as a character. Whoa, for a little blip on the map, that fortification down there is enormous. It's like a huge old city. Is it fallen or something? My goodness. That's much bigger than I was expecting. That one up on the left is where we're headed. Anyway, Dol Amroth, as I said, it's basically Prince Imrahil emerged as a character, and then he kind of built Dol Amroth. The narrative, of course, never goes to Dol Amroth, so we don't really sort of explore it. He doesn't build it quite as much as he builds some other places, the only other incident that we get from the entire history of Dol Amroth is when he goes back, and it didn't get published until Unfinished Tales. We get a version of the story of how elvish blood came into the line of the princes of Dol Amroth. But yeah, other than that, we know nothing about like the people and history of Dol Amroth and whether or not they, in order to be able to answer that question, essentially. But I will say this. Well, going back to the Martin comparison, since I brought it up, I might as well. One of the questions that... well, okay. when I read George R. R. Martin, the impression that I get is that his the question that he's sort of asking is, like, given that people are horrible, right, are horrible, ruthless and self-interested, what would these horrible, ruthless and self-interested people do under these circumstances, right? And he seems to go out of his way to, like, you know, sort of like crush illusions about, like, people might act nicely or other than that. That's a little unfair. I don't mean to be too unfair to Martin. But Tolkien's considerations are quite different from that. It's not just that he had a different view of the world, which he did, but also that he was telling a different kind of story, right? The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is not a novel.
These are troublesome times indeed.
Which is a mistake that people often make. A novel is the reason people tend to call The Lord of the Rings a novel, and look at me with funny faces when I say it isn't one, is that to most modern readers, the word novel means prose fictional monograph, right? Like a book in prose that's fiction is a novel, right? And that's the way people tend to, you know, like when you say, like, I'm reading a novel, you just mean you're reading a piece of fiction, right? And we tend to subcategorize works of fiction in the way that bookstore owners have taught us to do, right? This is a piece of detection fiction. This is a romance novel, right? This is whatever, like a historical novel or whatever. Those are bookstore categories, right? Like, where in the shop do I put these books so that people who are looking for that sort of book know where to find it, right? But that's not a literary distinction exactly. That is, in the older days, before these kind of genres were defined by bookshop owners, the distinctions between different kinds of books, people were a little bit more interested in the question of, I better check the milestone while I'm here. We're a little bit more interested in the question of, like, what kind of story is this? Not like what is its subject matter, but what manner of story is this? And the novel was one example of those. When you look in Tolkien's writings, he never ever refers to The Lord of the Rings as a novel. A novel, like Pride and Prejudice, is a novel. So realistic stories of social manners and that kind of thing, those are novels. And that's specifically how the word is used for a long time, especially in England. What Tolkien was writing, the word that he used to describe The Lord of the Rings was a romance. This is a romance. It's a historical romance. Not historical in the sense of historical fiction, but historical in the sense of it is a romance which tells a long story, right? That's, hang on, where am I going here? Yeah, the in here one. Let's replace that one. Anyway, it's a romance, which means a long narrative with certain themes, like romance as opposed to epic, right? That would be a different genre. It's not an epic. This is not the Odyssey. This is not the Aeneid. Those were, again, that's another adjective that we just don't use in the same way that they used to use it in the older. Again, that had a very specific meaning. What constitutes the epic? It was a convention, right? It was a literary genre with certain conventions and shapes to it, and therefore, if you read something that was labeled epic, you had certain expectations of what you were looking at coming into it, and The Lord of the Rings would have disappointed those expectations. It's not an epic. It's a romance. Anyway, as such, writing a romance, okay, well, that's the Great Hall there, which looks like exactly like all the other halls here. But this is a lovely Gondorian town, in excellent repair, too, I would add. It's not fallen to pieces. We've got some soldiers standing around, but apart from that, it looks almost dull Amrothian in the sense of, people ignoring the fact that there is any war going on around them. Okay, piles of supplies and barrels sitting around, which I guess we normally wouldn't have. Hey, don't kick your sister! How hard is that? Like, seriously, what are you, raised in a barn? Do people in barns kick each other? I guess sometimes they do. But anyway, okay. See, Saga is, Saga is another genre, right? But a much more sort of specific genre. You look at the saga cycles in Old Norse, and it's really a particular genre of Scandinavian story, essentially. Yeah, I do have siblings, JJ, and I do have an idea of how tough it is to resist kicking them at times. Though I think it was my older sister who had the greater temptation, to be honest. I grew up with a sister 16 months older than me, and I think she was the one who was mostly tempted to do the kicking, honestly. I do have two younger siblings, but there was a long gap. There's an 8-year gap. So by the time my younger siblings were of kickable age, it was... I'm not saying there was never any provocation to kick my siblings, but it would have been more like punting my siblings at that stage. And I was never sufficiently provoked to actually go through with that. Okay. This is a really interesting design. Hang on, I'm going to come back. I'm not going to come back in entirely, but... So, you come in, and the high seat is on the other side, right? There's this central well, which is almost like... And with a hearth in the middle, right? Almost like a hearth in a Rohirric mead hall, but not quite. We have the huge Gondorian hearths right on either side, much more common, right, in a Gondorian hall. But this whole like descending into the well and then reascending up is really interesting. It has the effect of putting incoming people in this sort of exalted position, right? I mean, everybody down there is looking up at me like I'm on a platform, right? Which is a really interesting effect. But of course, it doesn't prioritize incomers over the high seat, right? You're still looking up at, because it's raised a little bit above that level, right? So you're still looking up at the high seat from here. But it also means not only that, like, you're kind of in a place of honor when you come in, which is courteous, right? But it means you have to descend as soon as you arrive. It's like a call to humility, right? You descend down to this lower level where now you're looking up at everybody. You're looking up at the people to the sides, right? And of course, now you're looking way up at the high seat. So if you're approaching the high seat, you've got to come around here, right, between the guards. And then you've got to reascend, and now you're looking straight up at them. But it's not really high above here, like once you get up here. So, the kind of combination of, well, not exactly egalitarian, but like respect and I like it. This is a really cool design. I like your hall here, Malthelm. Probably not your hall. I know you're just a steward, but still. What do you say? That's rude. War is at our doorstep, and soon the threshold shall be crossed. I just crossed the threshold. I will not beg your aid, but if you wish to stand against the darkness alongside my men, you will be I will see you rewarded. Okay. Maybe less rudeness then, if you'd like me to join you. Okay, let's see what's going on. Chief among the threats facing Ost Anglebed is the war master of the nearby Haradrim. Southrons. Here we go. He leads a substantial force, and it grows by the day. Already Lornost has fallen to their warriors, and their riders gloat in the fields. The arrogant lot they are. They think themselves safe because of the half-trolls they command, but even those foul creations that could only be of the Dark Lord's designs cannot protect them now. We have taken enough prisoners. It is time for a show of force. Travel to their camp and confront their war master. Perhaps then they shall learn that the people of Lebanon are not yet beaten. Whoa, all right, we're going straight for the jugular, huh? The jugular. All right. Constricted offense. Might want to see somebody about that. While you seek out their leader, I would ask that you take the fight to the Haradrim across the river. Their men and their trollish men are of great concern to my warriors, and we know little of their plans. They laid siege to Lornost, and soon I fear their attention shall turn to my people in Ost Anglebed. These half-trolls are beyond our understanding. It is said that their skin protects them from flames. I would advise you to be cautious around them, for despite their size, they are strikingly precise with blades. Seek out orders held by their sorcerers, but leave none behind to strike against us. I will await your return. I hope you've begun your correspondence course for how to interpret their language and script, or else I'll be wasting my time again. Pour one out for Candaith. For days now we have seen the advances of our foes south of the Cerny, but few have been bold enough to cross over it. Ooh. Aha. The Cerny. Right. Which I crossed over twice now and didn't even really notice that I was doing it. Is this going to be our second river? Hope so. Okay, sorry. The Cerny, cross, right, much less claim it. Search the fields near Ost Anglebed and make them wish they had the sense to remain across the river. Defeat encroaching Corsairs. Okay. All right. Okay. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Did I finish my question? I don't know if I did finish my question. What was the question I was answering? Where'd it go? So many questions. Oh, yeah, people of Dol Amroth claiming the throne. So let me finish answering that, because I got slightly digressed into genres. But my point is, in pointing out the genre, he's not writing a novel. He's not just writing. It's not just that he has a different sense than Martin does of how people would or would not act. There are definitely novelistic elements. Tolkien did think very carefully about. I know this isn't the way out, but I didn't finish exploring up here. He did think very carefully about, like, what would these people actually do in these circumstances. He did want to make individual characters' responses to their circumstances thoughtful and realistic. That was something Tolkien cared about very much and talked about it. But the overall shape of the story is determined to be not like by the sort of realpolitik of the situation, but also very much shaped by the mythic significance. At the end of the day, Tolkien started writing mythology, pure mythology, and he never totally stopped doing that, right? So why, if I take that question and I turn it back a little bit more broadly, right? Why do the people of Gondor never move on, right? Why don't they ever move on? Why is there not some kind of succession war? I'm trying to figure out this pillar. It's just a sunburst? Never seen something like this in Gondor. What even is this? Why do the people of Gondor never move on from the Steward? Why does nobody ever challenge the Steward, whether it be the Prince of Dol Amroth or someone else? Now, what do we have, a crowd gathering to see this person? No, okay. I thought she was kicking her sibling again. Oh, she's dancing. She's doing a kick dance. Or maybe she's kicking the minstrels. They were forced to kick Robin's minstrels. Again with the sibling kicking. Oh my goodness, there's an epidemic of kicking children in Ost Anglebed. Do the people of Ost Anglebed have nothing better to do than kick their own siblings? Oh. Might want to erect a guardrail. I guess it's not so long a drop as it looks. Okay, so that's the Gilrine I'm looking out at? Yeah, the lake. Very nice. It'd be nicer in daytime, but that's alright. Seriously, rethink your life choices, people. Okay, anyway. My answer to the question, why don't the people of Gondor ever move on, right? Well, you can, as always, you can answer these questions from multiple different perspectives, right? From the perspective of Tolkien's story frame, because what is really important to Tolkien, the story that he is writing, is a mythic story, right? He is the return of the coming king. Gondor has not forgotten its king. It's not just a story where he is going to have, Aragorn turn out to be the long-lost king, and Tolkien, that is, just cares about... Oh, wait, hang on a second. Corsairs right around here? Yes, I think they are. So I'm gonna stealth myself and look for encroaching Corsairs right away, because I think there might be one right around the corner. No, just a crow. Anyway, he's not just interested in the story of Aragorn, like the story of the returning king. What he's interested in is the story of the people as well, right? He doesn't just tell the story of follow the guy who is supposed to be king until he finally becomes king. He also is very interested in the story of the other half of that particular myth, right? What would it be like for the people? What kind of people would they have to be? What would be the shape of Gondorian history? Right? It gives him an opportunity to kind of explore that from both sides, right? The mythic return of Aragorn is remarkable, not only because he is remarkable, right? It's not just because he is the king returning is important, but he's very interested in the story. If this mythic story is going to happen, if the king is going to return after 1,000 years of no king, what's that going to look like on the other end, right? And so he builds Gondorian society in sort of with this in mind. It's his opportunity, as I say, to kind of explore that myth from both sides, right? So it's an essential element of this. So it's almost like you start off with the sort of given, right? Given that Gondor is the kind of place where that does not happen. By definition, it can't happen. No one in Gondor is just gonna displace the Steward. But given that doesn't happen, what does that look like, right? Now, of course, he doesn't ignore the fact that this kind of thing might happen, could happen, right? That people, in fact, are such that this could happen. He worked that into the history of Gondor too, with the kin strife, right? There was a civil war during the time of the kings, in fact, right? So he's not, trying to ignore the fact that people are sometimes horrible, and he describes horrible things happening, right? I mean, think of the, the racism and hatred and infanticide and other things like that happen in the course of the Gondorian civil wars. Like, these things happen. George R. R. Martin would have told that story differently, but the details would suit Martin's plots, right? The details of the kinstrife, I mean. So these kind of things, he has these things happen, but it's not going to be the rule to these stories because he's exploring something else. He's exploring mythology, not just telling that kind of story. So anyway, that's my kind of rambling and long-winded answer, which I suppose is pretty much all of my answers about why that would be. So okay, now we're done with the Corsairs, and I gotta go south. I gotta defeat 10 Haradrim, 4 half-trolls, and 3 sorcerers to get orders from the Scourge. And then I gotta call forth the Black Serpent. So, wait a second. All up there, huh? So, I thought that was, no? Okay. We're all just right across the river there. Alright. Better put on my invisibility hat. Okay. Let's see where we end up. Oh, Nettlebrew, you think they're engaged in a northern sport of shin kicking? Well, I could believe that, but the fact that everyone involved in the shin kicking game seems to be older siblings kicking younger siblings, that's what makes me suspicious. It really does. Okay, but hang on. So this is where I'm not supposed to go south to that big old fortress across the way. Yeah, well, nothing to do with those Haradrim's mounted scouts. I want to... No, I'm not going to that rock. Because I don't really, I'm sure there's nothing in there. I want to go up to the beacon, which is lit, and therefore should, by definition, be relatively easy to see from a distance. So... Uh-oh. That's not a beacon that's lit. That's just a tower on fire. That's not good. Where is that? Oh, that's over there. That city is on fire. Not the same. Not what I'm looking for. What's going on here? Okay, hang on. Let's dismount. Let's be a little more systematic about this. This looks like a Haradrim camp. Oh, I did stealth myself, and so now I'm being attacked by a crow. All right, fine. Oh man, JJ, I don't even know. The canon thing, right? JJ says, I've been told repeatedly by folks who haven't read it that because the History of Middle-earth series has writings by Tolkien and was edited by Christopher, everything in it is canon. Oh man, yeah, you're sure right that Arda would have a really confusing history if that were the case. No question about that. I despair. I'm going to attempt to do this, JJ, because it's the right thing to do. But I despair, I really do, of convincing people of it. Because the idea of canon, that is, that there should be canon, that it's important that, like, everyone kind of starts with the assumption. The canon assumption, right? That there are some things are canon and some things are not. Like that's an important distinction to make. Everybody sort of starts with that assumption. It's a very popular assumption these days, right? You must first establish what is canon and what is not. And that gives you a framework from which to discuss things. And I'm not saying it doesn't make a kind of sense, but applied to Tolkien, it's complete nonsense. There is no... the concept of canon does not apply to Tolkien. It really doesn't. And I object to it in so many ways. But it's not just... it's not merely that it's that it's impractical. Whoa, what's going on here? So this half-troll guy is kneeling to you? Is he taking orders? Has he been a bad half-troll? Is he being rebuked? Kind of looks like it. Like, I gave you this much space and I told you to... Okay. All right. I don't want to know. I don't know what that half-troll did that was particularly naughty, but... okay, I'm just here to kill people, aren't I? Uh-oh. What'd this guy do? Oh, it's a sorcerer and a half-troll. Alright, hang on. Well, suboptimal, but we'll give it a shot. Good, I was able to one-shot the sorcerer, which was my goal there. Got a badge. Did I get some orders? No, he didn't have any orders. Oh, come on, man. Good, we're far enough away not to aggro the other guy. Oh, no, I just gotta loot him. Gotta loot the body. Oh, and he didn't have any. How annoying. Okay. Anyway, so about canon. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to explain. Maybe you guys can help me figure out the best way to approach this. I was going to make a TikTok video about this, actually. I haven't had a chance yet, but I've been meaning to do this. So, again, everybody wants to say, like, what's canon, what's not canon. And on the one hand, people are... so there are two basic problems that I have with this. Problem number one is that people want to say, like, okay, the published works, like the works published in Tolkien's lifetime are canon and the rest is not. And that would seem, superficially, to make a certain amount of sense, right? Okay, sure, like the Lord of the Rings is canon, but like the Book of Lost Tales is not canon, or whatever. The published Silmarillion is canon. Well, that's where it already starts to get sketchy now, doesn't it? Because that wasn't published in Tolkien's lifetime. Lots of problems with the Silmarillion as canon. So I'm going to start by trying to collect sorcerers. Here's a guy. Look, he's standing pretty much by himself. That's nice. Right, he's level 100, so I'm going to want to stop soon. Okay. There we go. Anyway, it would seem to make sense. But there are two reasons why it doesn't make sense. First, because think about what you're doing when you say that. When you say only works published in Tolkien's lifetime are canon, the rest of them, they don't count because Tolkien didn't publish them himself. Again, that has a superficial sensibleness to it, right? But think about, whom are you empowering to determine the canon of Tolkien when you make that distinction, right? Who are you saying, like, who decides? Who decides what is canon in Tolkien and what is not? If you take the works published in his lifetime as the defining element of canon, you're empowering his publishers, right? Those works which his publishers would accept for publication, those works which Allen and Unwin believed they could sell to the British public in large volumes, right? That's in large volume. Well, both large volume and large volumes. That's what defines canon, right? It's up to like Rainer Unwin is the one who has the authority to determine. Wait, why did I use this and nothing seemed to happen? Wasn't I supposed to summon forth the captain or something? I'm blowing the horn of challenge and I'm being, like, completely ignored. Is this... Oh, no, I'm not. He's just courteously allowing me to stealth and come up behind him, which is nice. That's unusually thoughtful for a boss fight. Anyway, okay, so... he was pretty easy. And courteous, as I say. Isn't any loot in here? Whoa! Oh, boy. I feel like I'm interrupting kitchen preparations over there. That's really disturbing. But I've got to kill some more of these half-trolls anyway, and this guy's by himself. Well, almost by himself. Tell you what. Oh, no, wait, there's another one right there? Nah, I can do better than this. Right, so, anyway. But do you see what I mean about the publisher? Right? I mean, it's... in my mind, that's really not okay. There are a whole bunch of things in the history of Middle-earth that Tolkien wanted to publish, tried to publish, but the publishers wouldn't take, right? So that means, like, if the publisher wouldn't agree to publish it, then they have unilaterally determined, against Tolkien's will, that that work isn't canon, right? That doesn't make sense. I am totally unwilling to give Tolkien's publishers that kind of power, basically. It seems actually, although it, the sort of purpose of the purpose of doing, the purpose of defining canon, I know that it's like motivated out of respect. Like we want to make sure that we're properly respecting Tolkien's ideas, and so we're going to establish what's canon so that we. We're only really dealing with the stuff that Tolkien really wanted to be out there, right? But he really wanted a lot of the stuff to be out there. There's some of his works, like the Lay of Leithian, that he tried to get published multiple times, and it never happened. And is that his fault, right? And is he to be? Oh wait, how did I get enough orders already? I totally missed that. I mean, I've been collecting orders, but I guess I've been talking and not noticing when they actually had them. I thought I didn't get any yet. Okay, so I just need 2 more half-trolls and then a bunch of Haradrim, which I can find anywhere in here. Okay, let me try to isolate some more solitary half-trolls. Like this guy here. He looks like a good prospect. Anyway, so yeah, I am not willing to let the publishers determine that. There are a bunch of things that he wanted to publish, sent for publication, was preparing for publication, and never got published. And that's not his fault. It's not his fault. And I would rather honor his intentions than otherwise. So, but then of course the other problem is simply that what about his ideas that changed over time? His own published works were not final by any means, right? He continued to develop those, concepts and ideas for a long period of time, right? And I'm unwilling to make that distinction either, right? I'm unwilling to say, like, only the stuff... there's a sense in which he actually treated The Lord of the Rings as canon too. He was unwilling to alter it, though he was altering the world around it, right? And that was a kind of game that he played. But there's no question that his own ideas continued to advance, to move forward. And he was very interested, so like when you're quoting an idea, right, that when you're quoting an idea that he developed later, that's not, that contradicts, as many of them do, things that are, the sort of the what is said in The Lord of the Rings. How do you handle that, right? What do you say about that? So again, it's at the end of the day, the concept of canon is really, really unhelpful. But I feel like when I say this to people, they just think I'm like disrespecting Tolkien by saying there's no such thing as canon, right? Oh, and the Silmarillion, holy cow. Yeah, right. JJ says, I've been informed numerous times if Tolkien didn't publish it before his death, the only possible reason is that he himself changed his mind and decided not to publish it. Well, then we better not, like, the Silmarillion is totally not canon, obviously, right? Because he didn't publish that in his lifetime. That's, yeah, I mean, I can't even understand how people can, knowing the existence of the Silmarillion, how people can begin to make that kind of argument. Even if just because the Silmarillion demonstrates that... all right, well, that did it. That did the trick, that last little melee there. Okay. Let's see, is this the, yeah, I'll just use my milestone. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. What about the stuff he just didn't finish? What about the stuff he wrote some of and just didn't finish it before he died? Right? Is it that if that doesn't count as canon, why not? Right? Yeah. There is no way that the Silmarillion can be considered canon. No way. Yeah. It's, as I say, my point is it's such a not useful thing concept to apply to Tolkien's world. It seems like it is, but it really is not. There is no such thing as a Tolkien canon. Okay, let's see. That's right, there we are. Again, these buildings all look so similar. I like Ost Anglebed, but it really is uniform in its construction. All right, but back to the Steward. I've done all the jobs. Got to be careful here turning in quests. I think I could turn in 1 or 2 without leveling up.
Why do you interrupt me?
I'm glad you have thinned their numbers, even if you were unable to provide us with their plans. Oh, that was my problem, is that I didn't find any plans. Okay. We shall have to keep a closer eye on them, it seems, and these half-trolls, by the way you describe it, they seem to honor the Haradrim sorcerers above all. Yeah, honor, you could say. We may never know if it is loyalty or fear that motivates them. I am thankful my men can keep their posts here, while we have one as skilled as you patrolling the fields. Hey, no problem. Okay, oh yeah, I can turn in all 3 of them, and then I'll take it off. All right. I hope all his men saw his resolve falter when you confronted him. If you can defeat their war masters, I have hope you will aid us in driving all the Haradrim and their Corsair brethren from our lands. Hey, happy to help, man. Happy to help.
What is the meaning of this?
Yeah, let that be a lesson to them. Why have they bothered? Okay. All right, I think that's good. I'm going to go to my inventory, and it's time. Boom. Done. Forgot to do my whole things there. Yep. Time to re-equip my tortoise rock. Okay. Gryfflet safely stuck at 104.
I beg your pardon?
Rumours surround these men known as the Heirs of Castamir, for his name was once held in great regard in Gondor, at least by some. There was a dark time in our history known as the Kinstrife. Hey, I was just chatting about that. When our people fought amongst themselves to determine who was the true claimant to the throne. Castamir and his followers forced the opposition from these lands, and soon ruled in Pelargir, but he was killed years later. The Kinstrife's ending was a bloody one, and as long as it has been, many of the wounds between brothers have never fully healed. I've heard my own folk talk of them, and I grow more curious as to what they believe these heirs seek in Gondor. All right, so I got to get the word on the street. Word on the street about the Heirs of Castamir. All right, I can do that. That'll be fun. Okay, talk to people about the heirs. Great. Anybody in here want to talk about the Heirs of Castamir? All right, I'm doing a public opinion poll on the Heirs of Castamir. Anybody want to... No? Okay. Okay, so I have a question. Why has no one, as a quest reward, given me a poofy hat? I want a poofy Gondorian hat to wear. Is that too much to ask? Or could I at least get a Corsair cummerbund? That would be nice. Okay, anyway. Oh, look, she wants to talk about it. She just has the look of somebody who might have an opinion about the Heirs of Castamir. Hi, Dolio. What do you think about the Heirs of Castamir?
Corsairs, strange armies.
You do not trust these rumors. Castamir's sons escaped when he was slain, but I do not believe his line could have continued for so long. I know, right? What are the odds that a long-lost, like, king, even if in this case a usurper, would have his line, like, survive for, you know, thousands of years? That is so implausible, I can't even begin. I will follow them if it allows me to keep my life, but they are cruel, vicious men, and I do not think them proper leaders for Gondor. Wow, so you think they're horrible, but you're willing to cave. All right, they shall bring ruin to Gondor. That wouldn't have been my synopsis of her. Like, you know, my synopsis would have been, Doliel says, make me an offer, Heirs of Castamir, and we'll talk about it. Hey, oh, what's this? What's this building here? Oh, the jail. Oh, let's see what the... I'll probably get sent there by a quest later on. If there's an enterable jail, there's probably a reason for that. Okay, Kellyroth. How about you? You willing to deal with the Heirs of Castamir?
This morning to no sun, no light of day.
I have heard rumors of the might of the one they call the Scourge. It is said he commands a vast army and can outsmart any foe in battle. It has been many years since Gondor has had a king upon the throne, and should he return to the throne to Pelargir, the people of Lebanon might prosper greatly. This fighting is brutal to be sure, but for this cause I would throw my lot in with him. Uh-huh. Yeah, you're all ready. Intrigued by the idea. Okay, see, look at this. Look how topical the earlier question I was answering is. They're willing. Thorgant.
There's naught but ill omen.
I do not care for this man, or for the outcome of his bid for the throne. I merely wish to make it through this war with my family intact. If he can stop the fighting, so be it. He seems interested in surviving the war. Okay, I think that's not the minority opinion. But I hear you. Has a rather utilitarian outlook on things. What about you, Marianne? What do you think?
What strange dark
The folk of my line
sky.
once counted themselves amongst the followers of Castamir. His dishonor tainted our family's name for years, but perhaps his descendants can restore it. The people of Gondor have waited long enough for the rightful heir. Let us celebrate anew. Let's settle for the unrightful heir. Okay, we're getting some real kin strife vibes here. This is very interesting. Okay, and then we only get one person downstairs whose opinion matters. What do we have over here? Ah, you. Nembadir. I care not if they are of the bloodline. Castamir the usurper was a monster who spat in the faces of his people, and these brutal men have proven to be no better than him. To grant any of them the throne would be madness. Were I a warrior, I would drive them from Gondor myself. Disgusted by the heirs, and wishes them driven from Gondor. Oh wait, there's somebody else I gotta talk to here. Sorry, Horace. Okay. Oh. Who's this? Nimithil. Right, Nimithil. Wife of Faltharan. Where's Faltharan? Who's Faltharan? Is Faltharan the lord who went away? Must be. Okay, Nimithil. I am Nimithil of Pelargir. Why have you come to me? You introduce yourself and tell Nimithil of the steward's curiosity. I do not care to know their goals. When you bear the name of one as reviled as Castamir the usurper, you cannot seek to do good for the people of Gondor. Oh, that's actually a pretty good argument, right? I mean, if you're really billing yourself as the heir of Castamir, I mean, you're kind of thumbing your nose in the face of, like, the history of Gondor. So, the optics are bad. I agree. Trouble is growing in Lebanon. It must be dealt with soon. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm already doing some of the dealing here. Ooh. Oh, hang on a second. which title did I get here? Known to Lebanon. Okay. All right. Very good. Completed the deed there. Rep deed. Excellent. Oh, man. Am I getting rep drops again? I am. Gold-studded staff and some more crafting. So, what was that? A bone something or other? Hang on a second. What? Bone carvings? Huh. Why do the men of Lebanon care about bone carvings? A gold-studded staff? All right. A staff of Harad adorned with numerous golden studs. Oh, right, it's war swag. Okay, I see. So this is like the fact that I've pillaged these objects from the Haradrim is what brings me rep in Lebanon. Right, it's bragging rights. Okay, all right. I'm tracking now.
What has become of our lords in the east, I wonder?
We are fortunate that Steward Malthelim has taken a few of the Corsairs and Haradrim as prisoners. I understand his anger, but the brutality he instills in his men disturbs me. Nevertheless, those men he has locked away may know something of the treachery afoot in Ost Anglebed, and we would be foolish to ignore their ranting. Go to the jail and speak to them. I cannot promise they will honor you with a response or even pay you any mind, but I wish to know if they have anything to say, and I am sure the steward would like to hear of it as well. Ah, I fear that Nimithil's foreboding is only too likely true. The savagery instilled in the men of the watch by the interrogation of the Haradrim prisoners is clearly having its effect in the town. We need look no further than the child-kicking epidemic. Right now, older siblings are kicking their younger siblings. Oh, it's awful. Melonin and my guards have spoken of strange happenings in Ost Anglebed, but I have yet to see any of them with my own eyes. Still, I do not doubt the truth to their words, and I would ask that you investigate this further. They have spoken of ill-crafted weaponry and fragile defenses about town, but I am certain more troubles have visited Ost Anglebed since this morn. Search thoroughly and tell me what you find. Look for signs of treachery, huh? Okay, we're definitely getting a Kinstrife vibe here. Got saboteurs. Okay, hey kids. You better tell her what she wants to know or she might start kicking you. That's what happens around here. Oh, so JJ, what's the difference between a YouTube video and a TikTok video? Well, the main thing is time. TikTok videos are capped at 3 minutes. You can do either like a 15-second, 30, so like 1 minute or 3 minutes. But 3 minutes is the absolute most that you can do. Whereas YouTube videos go on for, so like any kind of longer form discussion you want to have is a YouTube thing. Whereas TikTok is all like short and immediate. Also like very random. And that's my least favorite part about TikTok. It's all very randomized. Like it's really hard to follow threads or like do a continuous back and forth conversation. That's, as I say, that's my least favorite element of TikTok. But I really like the short video thing. Okay. Twitter versus blogs. Yeah. Yes. Except I get like threaded conversations are easier in Twitter than in TikTok. So it's more random. But yes, as far as brevity, yes, it's like Twitter versus blogs. Parallels aren't exact, but that'll work to go on with. Okay. These weapons appear to be fake weapons. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. You found a weapon rack stocked with a few blunted blades. Those look not only blunted, but artificial. Like, okay. But anyway, right, whatever, like mock-ups of blades. All right, well, let me go to jail. Hey, I7 Pow. Hey, I'm so glad you've discovered Lotro. It is a gorgeous and brilliant adaptation. Lotro is in my opinion, the best adaptation of Tolkien out there. Love it. Fascinating stuff. Really, really responsive to the text. Really creative and thoughtful in the storylines that they develop. Big fan. Hey there, Kuta. What do you think? This cage cannot hold me. Once my king takes the throne, I shall have my freedom. Look around you, burglar, for there are far more dangerous men outside these bars. You mean the guards? Are you far more dangerous than that guy? Oh, no, I think he meant, like, their secret allies, maybe. Okay, Hosdam. Ooh, going for the, really plain gray cummerbund with the colorful sarong and the topless, chest hair look. That's bold. Not to mention, the, like, Fu Manchu there. That's, the Corsair archer merely glares at you and then spits at your feet. Well, like you could tell, he was disrespectful chap. Where's the captured Corsair captain? Oh, here he is, lounging in the corner. That's why I couldn't see him. Okay, how'd you get to be a captain with just a dingy off-white turban? I mean, wouldn't something in a fuchsia be a little bit more befitting of your station? Man, you should be ashamed of yourself. Castamir once had many followers in this land, and his heirs shall renew the divide. We shall again grant Gondor a king. When the fighting is done, will you still think us the enemy? Brother shall again fight brother, hobbit, and there is naught you can do to stop that now. I7 Pow, this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Look how thoughtful this whole storyline is, right? Notice how they're taking that mythic idea of the return of the king, right? They're not merely undermining it in the sense of like, the people of Gondor are sick of waiting, right? That's not the point. They're invoking this other story, right? So like you've got the story of the kinstrife, right? The historical story of the kinstrife, and they're bringing that into the modern Gondorian story. Like we know in the Lord of the Rings, the Corsairs invaded, but we don't get much of the story behind that, right? In the main narrative of the Lord of the Rings, I mean. So here we get the whole story and the linking to the kinstrife, and the way, of course, in which this down in the south, in the southern fiefs of Gondor, really resonates differently, right? From the position of Minas Tirith, the Corsairs of Umbar invading, this is merely, a feared and even an ancestral enemy invading the kingdom. But down here in the south, it would be a little bit more ambivalent, because people here have cultural roots to Castamir and the heirs of Castamir. That makes perfect sense. So the fact that the Corsairs are not merely just like crude barbarians invading, but actually themselves trying to manipulate the myth of the return of the king, like the mythic significance of the return of the king. That's really interesting, isn't it? I think that's really cool. But yeah, I7, you're so right. I love how they let us play a big role in the happenings of Middle-earth, but without us taking over the main story of the Lord of the Rings. I have always so admired that. I think that their approach here in this game is almost perfect in that way. How you get to go around behind the scenes and you play a significant role, right? But without ever impinging on the story of the Lord of the Rings. I think that's really cool. Yeah, JJ, in some ways, yeah, it would be like if war broke out between the U.S. and Mexico, and some folks living in Texas and other border states might feel a little conflicted. Yeah, like people of Mexican families, right, or immigrant families. Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
I beg your pardon.
Why would any of them speak true? Their desperation is clear, and were I you, I would not think much of it. There is no victory for them to seize here, and the notion that the people of Lebanon would suddenly rally behind a band of savage warriors is absurd. Malthalim, you're just a fool and not a traitor, right? Probably just a fool and not a traitor. I think so. I'm going to go with fool. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here, Malthalim. Yeah, Druid's Fire, they did do the same in Rohan with the Dunlendings. Agreed. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Again, they do a really great job of isolating these other stories, right? And isolating these other stories and these stories, historical stories, I mean, and really bringing them out in the context of the larger stories that they're building. Okay, I want to find my other evidences of treachery. Blunted swords might just be laziness. Doesn't really prove. Okay, anybody here guilty of treason? You guys are all having quiet talks. Hopefully not treasonous ones. Okay. Wait, no, that's the front door. Oh, wait. Hang on, I might have turned away too soon. Okay, guys, any evidence? What's up with this? Oh, no! Somebody set fire to one of the useless barricades! How could you do it? Oh, boy. Now, how will these huge stone walls possibly stand once that barricade tastefully set off to the side of the road has been burned? Oh, the fiend... and there we're still kicking siblings. Look at that. Savagery. Savagery just spreading through the town. The moral fiber of Ost Anglebed eroding. Oh, wait. Okay, I've got to... Huh. Let's go up to the beacon? Alright. Hang on a second. Let me see. Okay. You're right, I7. They wouldn't confess that they were having treasonous talks, but maybe if I kicked them, I could get them to confess. I could try that. Can I... Right. I have to go up to the beacon? I did not see... I was up here, distracted by kicking siblings. Uh-huh. Yeah, this is the way I didn't go. Alright, well, there we are. And there's the beacon indeed. Okay. Alright, anybody treasonous up here? The beacons are lit, so that's a good sign. Ooh. Stairs down to a rather steepish drop. Okay. Right. Let's get off my horse if I'm that close to the cliff. What, I'll go upstairs. Any signs of treason up here? No? Man, it's got to be really hot up here. What's my quest ring for? All seems well. Oh, here we are. A treacherous pile of firewood. Why didn't I notice that at first? No, they didn't let the logs get damp. Oh, the fiends! They actually doused the logs. Well, let me tell you, you can throw logs as wet as you like onto that fire, and it's going to be just fine. It'll dry out in a hurry. Oh, man, they've allowed damp to get into the wood pile. I am telling you, the moral fiber of this town is just worn thin. Man, oh man. That's an awful shame. Okay, I'll go back to Nimithil and report my shocking findings. Shocking. Okay, let's see. Which level are we on? I think we got to go down one more. All right. Boy, this is awful. The things that saboteurs won't, will sink to, Nimithil. It's sobering. It really is.
What has become of all
Someone in
lords
Ost
in the
Anglebed
East,
must
I
be
wonder?
behind this. Oh, I know, these perfidious acts. But who, I cannot be certain. We must soon speak to the steward of this matter. It worries me that the steward should dismiss such a threat, idle as it may be. The wounds of the kinstrife are old, but it is not beyond reason that they would remain open after all this time. Yes, my community survey suggests that you are correct. Yes, speak to him soon. I agree. Shall we speak to him together?
What has become of our lords in the East, I wonder?
Since the fall of Lornost, I have been unable to rest, and I fear for the settlement of Erinos. It lies far to the east, beyond even Lornost, and its walls are not nearly as strong as those here. Few folk dwell there, and those that do are ill-equipped for battle. The settlement is shrouded by trees, so I can only hope the Corsairs have not yet moved against them. Why, because they didn't notice it? I would ask that you go to their aid and help protect them from the Corsairs and Haradrim before it is too late. You're sending me a vector quest? We're not done here.
There's strange armies.
The fate that befell Lornost is deeply troubling. They were attacked in the night by the Haradrim, but none of us knew how brutal the assault had been until the morning. I wish to learn more of what occurred in Lornost, but the steward has sent no men into the field. He claims that the Haradrim are too numerous, but they shall only gain might the longer we delay. I'm starting to have a really bad feeling about the steward. And what of the folk that were slain? Shall they lie where they fell? Travel to the east and see if you can discover more about what drove the Haradrim to Lornost. Okay. Just vectoring me out, huh? Kendall thinks the Corsairs are just a ridiculous rumor. I hear you. I hear you. I like why. Okay, so this is Lornost over here, the one shrouded by trees. Okay. And what's that one? No, that's Lornost here. And this is the refuge further to the east. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So I'm still not to go to this enormous fortress down in the south here. I think... Okay. So what do you guys think? You guys remember these quests well enough? My next epic quest is to find Thorongil, which I'm keen to do. Should I finish all of the side quests up in this area, like the outside Pelargir side quests, and then go see Aragorn? Or should I see Aragorn now? Is he going to send me into regional quests that I could double up with my side quests? Or should I wait until I'm all done with everything but Pelargir and then go see Aragorn? What do you guys think about my sequencing here? I always like to, not have to double back if I don't have to. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Kendall, you always do the side quests first? In general, I do too. Yeah, I7, I'm totally a completionist. I'm just, since I'm being a completionist on screen, I like to be as efficient as is plausible. Yeah, he goes straight to Pelargir. That was my vague memory too. I thought maybe there might be some like defeat mounted enemies in the area, like warm-up quest, but Yeah, that's probably safe, Edith. I'll wait until one of the regional quests sends me to him also, right? Until that doubles up, which probably it will. Hang on a second. Where am I even going? Stop. Why did you cross the river? No, this is right. Okay. So what's this? This is, oh, right, this is the camp, right, which I've already done. So I'm going to keep going east to the next settlement over. All right. Well, might as well follow the road. All right. All right. Yeah, well, I assume I'm going to get back to the river. I'm hoping to meet another one of the five sisters here, but I don't want to get greedy. Okay. Let's see. Man, it's still night. What time of day is it? Late watches, finally. I mean, I know it's the dawnless day and everything, but okay. This is, what am I looking at? Right, I'm looking at that place that I want to go. Okay, Haradrim Scout. Get out of the way. All right, so I'm going to pick up one more lore question, and then I'm going to go by the road here. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Lots of questions. Let's see. I think there was one earlier today. Yes. Soft Snake GR asks, do Middle-earth wizards need specific staff to make spells, or can they use any kind of wood they could find on the earth? That's a great question. Basically, so this question pivots on the Gandalf's staff. Is it a magical tool, or is it symbolic, right? And we've talked about this before, I think, in times past, but I'm going to say on the one hand, the staffs of the wizards are not magic staffs in the sense that like a wizard's staff in Dungeons and Dragons, it might be magical, right? It's not like, Gandalf was doing a dungeon crawl and found, Staff of the Magi and has been using that, or Staff of the Python or something like that, right? And has been using it. It's not like that. Like, it has magic independently stored in it. And he's just using it as a tool, right? In that way, that's clearly not the case. Hi, Aragorn. Good to see you. I'll be back. We're going to do this in order. Okay. So you stay there, Aragorn. I'll be right there. Anyway, so, yeah, I remember talking about this a few weeks back too. So I don't think it works like that. I don't think, but at the same time, I don't think it's just a stick either, right? Like, he could pick up any old piece of wood, like Gandalf could just take his staff, chuck it to the side, when he finds like a better, more sturdy piece of wood, right? I don't think that's the case either. Okay. Oh, that's Pelargia right there. Okay, great. I'm like, why am I being taken into this city? But that's because that's the approach there. But I can take a left and keep going. Okay. So it's definitely an expression of his own power. But the expression does seem to be significant. I don't know if he's invested his staff with this power. Whoa. Ooh. Not yet. Not quite time for Pelargia yet. But yeah, so I think my exact answer to the question, do they need a specific staff or can they use any kind of wood? I don't think it matters as to the wood exactly. I don't think they have to go on a specific quest for a special kind of tree or something, because again, that would imply that the magic of the staff is in the wood, that it's this tree that made them, that made the staff magical. It's not. Again, I don't think it's like that at all. But at the same time, I don't think it's not merely random. Like, I couldn't just pick up any old stick and use it. All right. Investigate the stacked settlement. Totally am doing that. There's something blowing around over here. Hang on. The paper is singed beyond recognition. Okay, well that wasn't helpful. Boy, there's just nobody here. Okay, so what happened here? Well, there was a battle. Let's start with that. The Haradrim won. The Haradrim won. We've got their banners up, right? Oh, wait, hang on, we've got quests. Amidst the ruins of Lornost, you see many of its folk still lying where they fell. Many sustained brutal injuries before succumbing to the Corsair and Haradrim forces, and none were granted any dignity. Perhaps burying them in the place they once called home will restore their honor and grant them peace in death. Okay. We can do that. And then... no. Don't think I want to defeat the warband today. Thank you. Okay, so I'm meant to... Alright, that's a guy who deserves a proper burial. The other guy's less so, apparently. Okay. Oh, got 8 of them, huh? Okay, so the Haradrim clearly won the battle here, but they're all gone now. Did they just move on? Did they... did something happen to them? Were they driven out by an army of the dead, perhaps? That seems plausible. I don't see a lot of slain Haradrim in here. You'd think, actually, there would be more. No, again, that proves not only that the Haradrim won, but that they settled here for some time, right? Because they seem to have taken their own dead and buried them, whereas the Gondorians have just been lying as where they fall, which shows that they didn't live here long, or else they would have cleaned up the corpses, even if they just threw them in an unceremonious heap or something. So they won the battle, they buried their dead, they set up their banners, and then they departed post-haste, leaving their banners behind. That kind of has an army of the dead feel to it, doesn't it? Okay, maybe one of these singed papers will someday be of use. This paper details an offer of peace if the people of Lornos surrender their lands. Okay, I'm just supposed to bury this guy amidst the rubble, huh? I can't even get access to this guy. This is a problem. Okay, I guess I can just bury him from here. Okay. Yeah, that's a particularly weird grave to dig, Catron. I just buried half that beam. Alright, let's keep going. They also left all this loot behind. And it's eerily quiet in here. I mean, I would expect at least there to be crows or something. But there are not crows. A slain man with a note speared to his chest. Where's the guy with the note speared to his chest? Did I just bury the note? Oh no, there he is. Yeah, okay. Whoa. Alright. Speared parchment. The note crafted by the people of Lornost contains a determined refusal to surrender. Okay, so they were asked to surrender. They said no. I don't get to bury that guy? You have buried all the folk of Lornost. Well, you've buried a significant subset of the folk of Lornost and restored their honor in death. The heirs of Castamir command a brutal force and must be defeated if the people of Lebanon are to live free of fear. So I guess it's possible that the Corsairs just moved on. I suppose it's possible. Deliver the news of Lornost to Nimithil in Ost Anglebed. Okay, so I'm done here. Okay. All right. No, don't worry, Kendall. I don't think it was Barrier. Might have been one of the other Barriers, but it probably wasn't. Okay, I don't know. What happened here? What title did I get? Protector of Central Gondor. I've scouted villages in peril throughout Central Gondor. I sure have. I'm a relentless scouter of villages in peril. Ah, first step of the explorer deed, huh? Any treasure of Central Gondor? Treasure. Singular. Okay. The Legacy of Pelargir. Path of the Grey Host. Camps of the Enemies. Okay, so let's see. Oh, we got 6 of 7 camps of the enemies. We're really moving through here. Path of the Grey Host. Okay, right. Pelargir and the camp, right? Okay, so that'll be easy. Where are my other explorer deeds? Oh, I haven't opened the Legacy of Pelargir yet, of course, because I've not gone in there. Okay. Wow, so, hang on. I guess I am moving through Central Gondor, aren't I? Right, starting with the Ringle of Vale, and then Adoranil, rather, and then down here to Pelargir, and to Lebanon. Right, yeah. I'm in the latter edges of this entire region. So and then we got Belfalas, right? Oh, that's the homesteads, right? Never mind. Right, then we did Western Gondor, right? Yeah, Blackroot Vale. Okay, look at that. So I'm 2/3? No, not 2/3 of the way through all of Gondor. I mean, Minas Tirith is like all in itself, and then I got to go up to Anorian. I guess that's where Minas Tirith is anyway. So far Anorian, I still have to do that. Yeah. And then of course I haven't touched Ithilien either. Plenty of Gondor left to go, but making progress. Making progress. Okay, and then got my deeds. All right, that's my exploration deed. Whoop. Okay. All right, we're almost to the end of time. No, of all time. My time today. Didn't mean to speak words of omen there. Okay, so off to this other thing. I can always get to that other spot. I think I'll go overland. It's not that far. Okay. Okay, so there's another beacon. All right, I see. There's the beacon up at the bifurcation of the river there. So the settlement that's screened by trees. Loosely, what does she expect them not to see that? It's got a big old honkin' tower. Not to mention the beacon rather drawing attention to... I know it's right, not right in the town, the beacon, but still. It's rather a conspicuous town. These trees would not be an enormous defense. Yes, Phil, thank you. I am remembering. Appreciate your reminder, Phil. Thank you. Okay. Here we are. Oh, dead folks. But Dead Corsairs. Oh, look at the dinginess. I'm afraid to tell you guys, these were not the best and the brightest. I mean, look how not bright they are. I mean, this guy at least had a classic green cummerbund, but there's only one splash of color among the three of them. Well, this guy has kind of, you know, fuchsia highlights there, which is something, but on the whole, a disappointing group of specimens. So I've discovered Eranos still free of the Corsairs. Mostly. Okay, nice little village. Central street up to the sweeping up to the tower. It's like no separate buildings. I mean, it's like one building in this town. Well, okay, there are other little, those just kind of look like outbuildings, I guess. Huh. Little village within this, inside of the courtyard, right? Okay. All right, Glothril, what do you say?
Well met.
We are not in need of aid, but that much is certain. You must have seen the Corsairs on the road as you arrived, but none of us know what to make of it. What to make of the dead Corsairs? Did you just wake up and find them there? Somebody drop the corpses on your doorstep? That would have been peculiar. If you mean you don't know what to make of Corsairs coming up and attacking you,
What news do you bring, traveler?
what to make of it is that you're under attack. When I woke this morning, I found these men lying in the road. No, I guess they were plants there. Okay. I dared not get too close to them, for I have known the Corsairs to be deceitful folk, but strange things are afoot. All right, so the corpses just showed up, huh? I know. No, I can explain this very easily, Glothril. The problem is their fashion sense is so bad that the other Corsairs killed them and dumped them here as a warning to others. They have not moved for hours, so I think them dead, but you must forgive my caution. They look as if a great wave had crushed them where they stood, but no one seems to know what actually happened. Oh, did it indeed? Tukarn is often one of our earliest risers in the morning, so perhaps he saw something while we all slept. What you really need is somebody who is nocturnal. They're much more likely to have seen something that happened in the early pre-dawn hours. But anyway, I'll find your morning owl, your morning lark. Not your morning owl. No, it's exactly a morning owl that you need. Okay, Toucan. Tukarn.
We woke this morning to no sun, no light of day.
You also awoke to the sound of water rushing away, but by the time I could clothe myself, all I found was the company of men on the road. I do not know what to make of it. We are not like the folk of Malbarth in our devotion to old fables, but perhaps we should be. I looked them all over, but I could not understand what I found. I would urge you to search them yourself before you return whence you came. Was that a hint? Right? On your way out the door, you might want to check them out. Okay. So they drown? Oh, that's kind of awesome. Ah, hence the puddles of water. Right. I thought it had just recently rained or something. Face down in a puddle. The Corsairs appear to have been drowned, despite being just outside Eranos. Drowned on dry land, huh? The Corsairs' clothing is damp to the touch. So I think by the logic of Bilbo's riddle, these guys are fish, right? The Corsair's clothing is drenched and his boots overflowing with water. Oh man, this is fantastic. Right, Steelhead Sandberg says, they wore white after Labor Day, so we killed them. Man, Corsairs would. Except with Corsairs, it's not about obeying the fashion laws. It's about the problem is insufficient rebellion against the fashion laws, right? It's like, are you like not wearing pink and orange together? Like, let us fight to the death. All of them drowned, but we are so far from the water's edge and so much higher. This makes little sense. As for Tukarn, he moved here from Malbarth when he married, but I think he has always carried his beliefs with him. I do not know if this truly could mean that the sisters have returned to aid us, but I struggle to find any other meaning from this. Thank you for coming to our aid, but we are safe. And I wonder what this could mean for my people. I am sure we shall all soon speak of what has happened here today. I agree. Is that, wait, no, that's it? Back to Nimithil, huh? All right. Can I just say, I'm really glad I took the milestone. Back to Ost Anglebed. Turn in these quests, and then I'll hand things over to Druid's Fire. Okay, let's see, where are we? There we are. Good, still not kicking each other, I see. Good girl. Okay, let's see. Fate of Lornost, it was bad. The heirs are unafraid to deliver on their threats, that much is clear. If they came to Ost Anglebed, words shall not be enough. If they come here, we must be ready for battle. The steward must be told of this. I've got a bad feeling about the steward. The tale you have told me is a strange one. I too am not sure what to make of it. However, it is heartening to know that some of our folk remain safe from the enemy. Thank you for traveling so far on my behalf. These tidings have eased some of my worries. No problem. What should we do next? I have seen enough. We must go to the steward at once and convince him to do something before our people turn on each other. Each day has brought more and more rumours of the supposed greatness of these heirs, but it is clear that they mean naught but harm for Gondor. The people are divided, and I see them look with such disdain at their fellows. I fear this conflict shall soon come to blows. This treachery in Ost Anglebed. Who could be behind it? We must find out before they can weaken us enough for the enemy to overcome our defenses. Yes, they might blunt all your swords and dampen all your logs. Let us go. Okay, we shall go next time, Nimithil. Next time. And when shall next time be? Next time shall be next week. I'm glad to say I will. I should be able to do my Gryfflet stream for the next 2 weeks, and then comes Mythmoot. I'll be down in Mythmoot, and at Mythmoot I'm going to do a special Lotro stream. Gryfflet is going to go on a field trip at Mythmoot. He's going to go on a field trip and do as many of the quests of the Yondershire as I can, exploring the new Yondershire story. So I'm excited about that. Of course, Gryfflet is not going to get back up there organically, right, following his completionist route. So I'm going to go visit there. I've just started exploring it in my Exploring the Lord of the Rings field trips, but Gryfflet's going to go up and actually do the quests in the story. So that's the plan for my special little mini marathon at Mythmoot this year. And so you can join me for, I forget which night it is at Mythmoot, but Mythmoot is 2 weeks, no, 3 weeks from right now. Which reminds me, by the way, if you want to join me at Mythmoot, it's our Signum University's big annual conference down this year. We're at the Dulles Airport Marriott down in Virginia, and you can still register for the next week. You can still register to come in person if you would like for 1 or more days, or you could attend digitally. We have a full digital attendance option there. Tomas says it'll be Thursday night. Okay, yeah, that might be true. But anyway, okay, we'll see. Whatever it is, I show up, they tell me where to go, and I go there. So there we go. So the 23rd or 24th, whether it's Thursday or Friday, I think it's Thursday. So that sounds right. So yeah, probably the 23rd then is when that stream will be. But anyway, okay. Thanks everybody for joining me today. Stay tuned for Druid's Fire, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.